All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for to welcome everyone to HBAP Startups. So let's get started. For those of you who are new to the HBAP Startups group, we have a few announcements at the beginning of each meeting. We will do some short networking breakout rooms, and then we will come back together for our main event. And first off is our mission. We're here to help foster and fortify an innovation and entrepreneur community coming out of the Harvard Business Analytics program. Our goal is to provide our members with the tools, knowledge, leadership, and confidence necessary to create and grow their businesses from the ground up. Susan. Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted because I'm coughing. Yeah. No, I'm not. Okay. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can stay in touch with us and we can stay in touch with you. Todd's just put them into the chat. And so please join our newsletter if you haven't already, and you'll get some cool information on regular intervals. And then just a reminder, bring people. They don't have to be HBAPers. They can just be interested and interesting people that want to be here with us. And then unless the presenter says otherwise, everything is recorded and then posted publicly on YouTube. And now the code of conduct. So really, this is a place where people can bring their ideas, can talk about what they're doing, can bounce ideas off of all of us and get feedback. And so our goal is to really create this safe, inclusive environment of collaboration, confidentiality, and trust. And as a reminder, all rights are reserved by the presenter. So in terms of no personal recording of any of the sessions, we abide completely by what the presenter tells us in terms of what's confidential and what needs to remain confidential. And then as we give feedback in the spirit of who we are and our environment, we abide by the feedback ratio for every one mildly tart piece of feedback. We want to give at least 5 pieces of really positive feedback. That works better, it goes in better, and it is implemented better. So anybody has a concern about conflict of interest or confidentiality, just reach out to Todd, Ashley, or me. And then we've got some really cool speakers coming up. Today's one is awesome, and Todd is going to talk more about that. But coming up the next week, January 17th, most of you know that we've had this ongoing conversations with Harvard Grid and wanted to get one of the postdocs coming to talk with us. And so Andy Spielberg is going to come talk to us about the work that he's doing, writing algorithms for robots and doing very quick fabrication. And then, and that's through Paul Hare and Kelly Kimball. And then on the 24th, Mitch Hale, who's the CEO and co-founder of Featrix.ai, is going to be here to talk about his company. And they have a really cool tagline. It's machine learning data, infrastructure, and operations gets expensive fast. Something has to change. Featrix rapidly integrates data and builds machine learning models 10 times faster. So I personally am very interested in that since we're using a lot of machine learning models in my company. And then on the 31st, Karen Nolan, CEO and co-founder of Mappy, and Mappy's also cool. It develops geospatial applications and data analytics platforms for venues. So for example, one of them is called Snow Mappy, which helps skiers navigate specific ski venues. And then we've got, oh, I forgot to take this off. Sorry, Todd. We've got some cool stuff coming up in February, so stay tuned and don't worry about what's written on the bottom of the slide, other than just want to highlight our own HBAPers. This is an AI Earth Hack, Gen AI hackathon and competition, and Todd and Jeremy Kahn are both sponsors of this, and Fermi is one of the organizer of the event. So kind of cool. All right.
Thanks, Susan. So yeah, thank you for that shout out. I forgot to remove that from the slide.
Yeah.
So let's do some social breakout rooms. I'm going to open them up and see you guys in about 5-6 minutes. So Adolfo and Lalita, you guys are you unable to join a breakout room? I don't know. All
And Marie, I'll want to hear the rest of your story when we catch up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had fun in your breakout rooms. So one quick announcement. Just when you leave Zoom this evening, you will see a pop-up of a survey. Please do fill out this survey. We are data analytics people. Without data, we become distraught, sad, lost, and depressed. So please fill out that survey. And then after we're done with our main event, we will stop recording and we will hang out for some overtime. So please stick around for that. And just as a little reminder, tonight's session will be recorded and it will be published on our YouTube channel. All right, so tonight it is my honor to introduce tonight's speaker, Scott Ford. Scott is the co-founder and CEO of ZigZag Ventures, a global innovation platform that empowers entrepreneurs to build and launch quickly. Using a single sentence description of a business concept, the GoZigZag.com platform builds an entire business validation roadmap in 90 seconds, which obviously saves entrepreneurs like us tons of time and tons of money. And prior to ZigZag Ventures, Scott was the COO of Techstars, you might have heard of them, where he led the organization's accelerated footprint expansion to 50+ programs in 30+ cities in 13 countries across 4 continents, annually deploying over $50 million in investment capital across 500+ early-stage companies. The Techstars portfolio grew from less than $10 billion to over $160 billion during Scott's tenure. He currently teaches entrepreneurship at the University of Colorado Boulder. And a little personal note, I met Scott and his co-founder, Sami, this past November at the World Open Innovation Conference in Bilbao, Spain, where they won Industry Best Practice Award. And when he gave a demo of what we're going to see tonight, I was pissed. I mean, I was really pissed. This stuff is using AI to make our lives so much easier, and I've been doing it the wrong way all along. And in addition, Zig was a huge hit with my students last semester. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I teach artificial intelligence and strategy to creatives at the School of Visual Arts. And I'm completely rewriting and expanding my entrepreneurial unit for this coming semesters to fully incorporate Zig. So Scott, thanks for the extra work. I really appreciate having to redo my entire class based off of what you've shown us. Anyway, so now without further ado, as is our custom here at HBAP Startups, if we could all, please, let's briefly unmute ourselves and let's give a warm round of applause to Scott Ford.
Wow, this is kind of amazing.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny you mentioned meeting at the World Open Innovation Conference, Todd. I was talking to my wife earlier, and she was asking me about this presentation. I said, well, there was this guy who sat in the back of the room, and I just saw him like grimacing and like wringing his hands. And at the end, he's like, "You've ruined it. Like I have to redo all of my work." And I was like, so of course we became friends. And so right here above me, this is the award I won. So that's where it's been sitting since I came back. So yeah, that was a big surprise for us, and yeah, it was very exciting. So tonight, what I thought I'd do is really share kind of the presentation I delivered at the World Open Innovation Conference, and it's really around kind of the art of idea validation and how it's shifted and changed, and how the role of AI plays in all of that. And so what I will do is share my screen real quick here. Let's make sure everyone see my screen there.
Yes, can see it now.
Okay, perfect. So thanks again for having me. So you know, Todd did a great job of introducing myself, but what I wanted to do was start off and talk a little bit about, like, you know, who I am, but like where I kind of fit kind of across the you know, kind of the spectrum of entrepreneurship. So an innovator, you know, I've been a founder. This is the third company I've founded, and super excited. It's been going great since we launched kind of the middle of last year. And as Todd mentioned, also an operator. Not only working at Techstars, but prior to that, helped a large medical device company grow and be eventually acquired for a couple $1 billion, but helped it grow from 200 million to over 1.2 billion dollars in kind of an operator role, managing not only the operational side of the software business, but also the international sales, the global sales aspect of it, and then also as an educator. So literally, I've started companies, I've operated companies, and I'm now teaching students how to work within companies. And so that's kind of a quick overview of my background. And so what I thought we'd talk about is let's reflect on kind of the fundamentals of entrepreneurship has all been around kind of the lean canvas over the last 10 years or so. When I was in grad school, I was writing 20 and 25-page business papers or business plans, and now there's this lean methodology, and it's like a startup on a page, and it's been awesome. With its core pillars around hypothesis, testing, and iteration, and that has been around, I said, for about a dozen years now. But then this thing AI showed up, and this is a group that can probably appreciate this. With the release of ChatGPT, it brought AI to the desktop, much like browsers brought the internet to the desktop. It's that kind of revolution that's happening. And what that's done is it's allowed for faster iteration of ideas, because now AI does all the hard work for you. You don't have to get out, God forbid, the encyclopedia. You're not searching the internet all day, because it has this ability to synthesize these huge, vast swaths of data, and it's a much more cost-effective approach. But AI isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It still needs a human. And so I spent a lot of time talking about this AI-human collaboration. And you need the human to give it the prompts, to give it the input. You need the human to validate what's right. We've all heard about hallucinations and things. And so while AI is great, it's not perfect. And so there's this concept of AI human collaboration. And while what it does is increase your speed to market and great value for you, you still have to be careful with it. You still have to test it. And so it's really a partnership that goes on there. But how did this all come, and how did I come to this? Well, it kind of started almost in your backyard, if you will. Back in 2017, a couple of Harvard researchers and an MIT researcher approached Techstars, and they said, we think we can train a model to select companies for financing, for venture financing. Would you give us data? And so we gave them 3 years of our application data, and they took that data and they trained their model, and they came back and said, not only can we train our model to kind of mimic human behavior, but we can actually select companies on par with kind of your best human evaluators. And in some cases, we actually do a little bit better. And this is, a perfect example of kind of that AI human collaboration. When we gave them an application that was, let's say, 3 pages long, the human would read it. If someone submitted a 10-page application, the human would scan it. But the AI, it would read everything. And so what they found is people who submitted longer applications, their model often chose that longer application. And then based on financial performance and financial outcome, they actually did a better job in that. And so this was something that I was always excited about. And so as I transitioned out of Techstars and I was looking for what I was going to do next, one of the things that really resonated with me was, how can I use this objective data instead of kind of the traditional subjective data that happens in kind of the venture capital world? And I thought this would be a great way to do that. And so we built this platform. My partners and I built this platform we call Go ZigZag. So Go ZigZag is this global innovation platform that is super easy to use. It's super fast to use. It's kind of business agnostic, and it's really simple. And when I say simple, it's you enter a single sentence. So in this case, it's a bio-epoxy resin company that creates composites, adhesives, and coatings for sporting goods. That's it. And then you click the Unleash Your Startup idea, and within 90 seconds, 2 minutes, it comes back with all of this information that enables you to launch and build your company. And so the first thing you do, you enter the idea, it's going to come back with a lean canvas. And we really create an enhanced lean canvas. And so this is your lean canvas that you see here, but in areas where we enhance it, if you click on the detail buttons there, you'll see that you have customer segments. Well, you've got a list: outdoor sporting manufacturers and outdoor gear retailers. what we'll actually do, and I'll show you this in the demo, is we actually give you a customer persona, customer pain points, customer jobs to do. When it comes to the existing alternatives, we'll give you direct and indirect competitors. When it comes to the solution, we'll actually suggest other ways that you might want to consider. A lot of times entrepreneurs are so focused on their solution that they forget to look 1 or 2 degrees to the right or left. And so this is something that we do to give you a little bit of encouragement to look, expand the aperture of your lens a little bit. So as you kind of go back and you iterate on this, again, you can go back and change that sentence, you can adjust it, you can put in paragraphs or a single sentence. And once you do that and you feel comfortable, well, now what do you have to do? You have to validate your hypothesis of people won't want this. So the next thing we do is we give you a list of all of the different hypotheses that you should go out and validate. So is this viable? Well, you should probably do an expert interview. Is it viable? You should do a financial projection. Is it desirable? Do an online ad. Talk to customers, talk to users about this. And so we give you all of this information. And then if you don't know how to do this, because a lot of the entrepreneurs that we work with are idea stage. They've never built a business before. They're super junior in this. We'll give you a whole list of questions that you can go to prompt these discussions in these interviews. Excuse me. So the next thing is now you have to tell the story. So you've defined your idea, you validated it. Now let's tell everyone about it. So we'll give you our brand wheel: mission, vision, values, tone of voice, visual indicators, all of those things. Now, while I don't know exactly if this is your right mission or are these your right values, it's really a starting point. It really helps unlock the creativity because now you have a framework with which to work in. And you can take what this idea is and say, sustainability, yeah, that's probably right. Performance, right. Innovation, maybe that's not the right thing. But you no longer have writer's block because this is giving you some suggestions of what to do. We do the same thing with the startup naming as well as the elevator pitch. So all of that information is included there. And so when you think about this, everything I've just shown you, we do in that 2-minute time frame. So everything is done. And so you're probably asking yourself, well, if it does it this quickly, is it any good? I had the same question. So we went in and we asked our users, and what they told us is, yeah, it's pretty good. It saves us a ton of time. It saves us a ton of money. And most impressively, 95% of our users said it's mostly are very accurate what the output is. And so again, it's going to reduce that time to market for you because we're giving you all this information. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's not perfect. You need the human in there. And so the human goes and validates it. So whether it's 95% accurate or 75% or 82%, that remaining percentage, you as the human, go validate all of those things. Go make sure that it really is meeting your needs along the way. And so that's kind of the core product. But beyond that, for me, what I want to do is really, I want to bring entrepreneurship to the world. I don't want to save this in my little world of Boulder, Colorado. And so what we did is we're going to provide this globally. And so we're democratizing access. So at this point, December, essentially our numbers aren't going to grow much more. We're in 107 countries. So in December, we were also in 107 countries. We've kind of popped out at, the majority of countries that are going to use this. And so now, I've always said that there are great ideas everywhere, but access to capital and talent isn't. Now I can bring that access to the rest of the world because through this platform that you can use anywhere, now you have the ability to launch your ideas. And in the demo, I'll show you some ways that we're considering how we can connect people to that capital and talent along the way. But it's not only us that really appreciates this as entrepreneurs. It's also resonating with universities, corporations, and governments. So I started as a kind of as a little secret squirrel project, if you will. I was going to use this in my class at CU this fall. And, I went to the executive director and said, can I do this? He said, yeah, give it a try. And so, as a true entrepreneur, I took that as the green light to, well, if I can try, so can everyone else. So 7 different professors signed up at CU. And then I said, well, if they'll do it, maybe I can get some others. And so, UC Berkeley, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Oregon State, all of these different universities have agreed to use it. And so it's in about 30 different classrooms, 30 plus classrooms last fall. And all these universities are continuing to use it in the spring. We're also working with different governments, with economic development organizations. Here in Colorado, Startup Colorado, for example, is a program to help rural entrepreneurs. You know, Colorado is basically built around a couple of key cities, but the state is a big state, and those rural entrepreneurs don't have access. So I'm bringing that access to them. And the corporations not only are supporting us by providing perks and discounts to our products, whether it's Dropbox or HubSpot, but other corporations are using it. Google for Startups, recently their accelerator for Black founders was using it. Spin Lab is an accelerator and studio out of Germany that they're using it. And so we're super excited that all of these people have embraced this and wanted to take this on and participate in the journey with us. So it's been a fun ride. So, you know, with that, you can see how the world of AI has really changed how things are evolving today and how impactful this transformation is. Because now what used to take days, weeks, and months to do, we're doing in seconds. So you have that fast testing. You're validating it quickly. You're going to market faster. We're democratizing access to entrepreneurship. All of those things are happening really in the last year or so. Again, because AI has come to the desktop, much like the browser came to the internet. And so we're super excited to be playing part of this. You know, our vision is to build this ecosystem around this and be kind of the core. So when people think I want to build a company, they come to us, to our platform, because they know it's fast, it's reliable, it's accurate. And in the demo, I'll show you how we're looking at potential ways to connect founders to that capital and talent we talked about. So we're going to try to leverage all our AI with the humans that we're going to connect you to for that AI human collaboration. So with that, what I'm going to do is stop sharing here for a second, switch over to the demo. But first, because I have this opportunity and I'm bold, thank you, but I have a shameless ask. We have been nominated at this organization called Startup Stage, and you can vote for us. And so if I could beg and plead everyone to take a second while I switch to go to Startup Stage and vote for us, I would very much appreciate it. So with that, let's see. I will stop sharing and I'll bring up my other screen in just a second.
Can you put that up again so we can get the address, or can you put it in the chat? Can you put it in the chat?
Yes, I can put it in the chat. I will do that in just 1 second.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
You got it?
I got it. I got it.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. Perfect. So now what we'll do is let's do a live demo. It's always dangerous when you do this, but I love this. This is my favorite part. And so what I'm going to ask is one of you to come up with a single sentence idea. We'll build it live on the fly. So I'm going to log in here and just kind of orient to the screen. It's very similar to the screenshot I shared. We'll replace that. We'll put a new idea in. But here on the left, these are all the different ideas. So I can store all of these different ideas in the system. And so whether that's the same idea and it's just different versions, or these are literally different companies or different ideas, those are all there. So you have all of that. You have the ability to print the idea, and then we have a resource library here that enables you to, there's about 100 different blog posts, articles, tools that you can use as an entrepreneur. Like, hey, what's the best way to go fundraise? What is the best way to create a go-to-market strategy? How do I select a name for my company? All of those things are kind of part of the resource library. So, it says I've reached the max number. Hold on. All right, we're gonna try it anyways. So who has an idea? Who has a sentence that I can type in here? Don't be shy.
Anyone want to give it a shot?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Jian, you're up.
Thanks. Small businesses has financial protection plan.
A financial protection plan for small businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Plural. And we'll say go. So what's happening right now is in the background, we're taking this idea, we're going out, we use OpenAI. So we're going out and we're querying that. And you can see on the left side, kind of these spinning circles, we're going to build out the lean canvas. We're going to start with the customer segments, move to alternatives, and then kind of the full lean canvas. We'll then do all of the validation. You can see some of this is already done. So I'll scroll down. That's already built out there, just filled in kind of the rest of it, the customer segments along the way. And so that was, I don't know, 25, 30 seconds. So the lean canvas is done, and it's going to continue building all of those other things in the background. And so again, this is your traditional lean canvas that you've probably seen hundreds of times before. But what I want to highlight are these customer segments and the solution and these existing alternatives. And so when I click on this details button, we're going to dig into that. And here are the customer segments. So there are, the 3 different customer segments that identify, but now we've built a persona around each one. We've identified the customer jobs and the customer pain points. So all of that information is there, we've created for you. Oh, artisans, there's another one. So here is the existing alternatives. I mentioned we have direct competitors, indirect, and alternative solutions. Again, the alternative solutions is one of those things that helps you kind of open that aperture of your lens and say, gosh, a peer-to-peer lending platform, I hadn't thought about something like that. That's an interesting concept. The same thing is true here with the solution. We'll give you the kind of the features of it, but here's potential other ways to play. And I think of this as, it's my blind spot detector. Gosh, I hadn't thought about, integrated financial protection suites or a my policy ecosystem or something like that. So we give you all of those kind of suggestions along the way. And then everything else in here is, kind of your standard business model canvas, your lean canvas. So what we'll do is we'll go back, and as I mentioned, we've now done this. We feel comfortable, we could go back and iterate on our idea, but let's assume that we like this idea. Now we're going to go down to the validation. And the validation, those are all the different things. And as I mentioned, customer interview, financial projection, a letter of intent, all these different kinds of things that you may want to do. And as I mentioned, you may not know what questions to ask. So we'll generate this list of questions for you. And there's usually 20 or 25 in here. So understanding your customer, here are 4 questions, customer goals and desires, how to ask them. And so it prompts you with all these. So again, it eliminates a lot of that writer's block. Like, I didn't even know where to start, but now we've given you a starting point for all of this information. We also, I usually say this to the end, but we also want to inspire you visually. So we're going to create a landing page for you as well. And so the landing page, we've named it, and we'll show you that name in a little bit. Guardiant, here it is. Here are some key benefits. We've created some imagery for you. You got to have testimonials for your landing page. Some additional features that you may have. So all of that's all inclusive in what we're doing here. So then going back to kind of the main thing, as I mentioned, you've defined your idea, you validate it, you feel comfortable. Now let's tell a story. And so here's our brand wheel. And so again, mission, vision, values, brand personality, I'll expand this. And this will expand a little bit further into, tone of voice, messaging, visual identity. All of that is included there. Again, use as much or as little as you want. What we want to do is just give you a starting point, eliminate that writer's block. Startup naming, well, let's give you a startup name and give you some context of why we chose that name. And there's that name, Guardiant. So the first name in the list is what we'll use when we build these other things, the landing page and the elevator pitch. Well, we give you, 15 different names or so, to kind of inspire you. And then we'll create an elevator pitch, and we'll, again, use that name. Guardiant stands out in its unique features and benefits. introducing Guardian, a financial protection plan. So it gives you all of that as a starting point for everything you're doing there. So that's kind of the core of what we have today and what we're building. But the vision is to be much bigger than this, to as I mentioned, to democratize access to capital and talent. And so how do we do that? It's through our Connect dashboard. And so what we want to do is say, okay, you've done this. You've created a great product, and we've given you we'll give you a score, and we'll say you're a 7 out of 10. And at this point, we know you're serious. We know you have traction. We think you should connect with a mentor. And the idea being, let's connect you with a mentor specifically that has expertise around your business concept or your business idea. As you work with that mentor and your score improves and they score you, now let's connect you with a relevant investor or accelerator program. And so now, instead of me going to Techstars and going to one of the managing directors and say, hey, I've met this great startup, you should meet them. It's based on my reputation at Techstars, my reputation with that person. Now I can have that exact same conversation, but now I have all this objective data I can bring. Oh, here you can see that they've built all of this out, that they have traction. We have access to their financial model, perhaps. We have access to pitch decks and all of those things. We give you all of that. And then the last part, and this is something that's live, users can use it now, is we give you access to perks, both product perks as well as service providers. And so if you are building on Google Cloud, you can go to Google for Startups and they have up to $200,000 in cloud credits, or Notion will give you 6 months free. If you're building out a product and you don't have an engineering team, Profic is a development company that can do that for you. Or if you're incorporating in the UK, Seed Legals can help you. And so those are all the different pieces that we provide for you along the way in what we're building. And so that is kind of ZigZag in a nutshell. So go zigzag.com. Anyone can use it. It's today it's completely free to use. We'll have a freemium model, and we'll be coming out with some additional features. And the next release will include the ability to do market sizing. So we talked earlier of TAM, SAM, SOM. So we'll have some of that ability to be able to do a team assessment. So upload your CVs or your resumes into it. We'll do an assessment of the founding team, as well as a regulatory landscape and industry trends. And we'll score those things in kind of a red, yellow, green stoplight approach. Like, hey, the market sizing is yellow. It's not a huge market. It's green. It's a huge market, something like that. And so that'll be in the next release of the product. And then since I have you,
Wow.
I'll just show you real quickly this resource library. This will take a second to pull up. It's in an Airtable. And so this is curated. These are all things that I went through and personally, kind of selected and went into, whether you have leadership questions or management questions, marketing questions, how to pitch, all of that data is there, product market fit, strategy. And so we've categorized these, whether they're a blog, there's YouTube channels, all different kinds of things that you have access to, because again, a lot of the founders that we work with, this is their first time. They don't know how to do a lot of these things. And so we want to make a friendly, easy to use, kind of all encompassing platform for building. We want to empower the next generation of founders to launch and build quickly the next generation of unicorns and decacorns.
Yeah, Scott, this sucks, man.
Well, oh my God. I mean, but I'm doing now in my head what Todd was doing in the back of your room in your presentation. It's like, well, put a bunch of expletives right now, but how incredibly cool. And so, I mean, awesome. So a question for those of us that did the heavy slog already, is there a way to kind of put more information in about, like we've launched a product, right? But we could still totally use this to clean up our act a lot. How would it work for that too?
Absolutely. So this is the way that I taught my students this in the fall semester is when all these different universities and professors were using it, I kind of give them carte blanche. Like, I don't know the best way to use this. my only ask is use it, tell me how you're using it, and give me feedback at the end. So in my case, I went through the traditional way. Like, I taught them a lot of this stuff for this first several weeks. And then I came in and said, oh, by the way, I'm going to do everything I taught you in the first several weeks in 2 minutes. And I'm going to be your best friend. Now take this and take your idea and go and enhance your business plan and cite where you've done that. Some professors said, use this, write a one-page paper, what you learned from it. Half of it is what you learned from it. Half of it is what you're going to change in your business plan. So everyone used it a little bit differently, but you could absolutely use that. We have everyone from, as I mentioned, the entrepreneurs in the university level, but startup consultants using it, venture capitalists are using it, corporate innovation teams. They have all that IP sitting on the shelf. And a lot of times, unless that generates $1 billion idea, they're not going to move forward with it. But this is a way they can test and validate. Is that perhaps $1 billion idea that we have sitting on the shelf? Can we use that IP? Yeah, so you can definitely use it in that sense to update your plans.
So, sorry, Susan, were you going to ask another follow-up? I didn't. You're good? Oh.
Let's go to the other questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Pravmeet, and then I know Cindy, you had a question, but we're unable to raise your hand. So Pravmeet, and then we'll go to Cindy.
Yes, thank you, Scott, for sharing. In fact, I mean, I've shared this with a few of the folks here in the call that I'm trying to launch my own company, and I've been thinking of these ideas, and I'm like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. Looking at your dashboard, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I missed out on all of that other stuff which I should be thinking of. So thank you for that. My question is, how are you making sure that the ideas, like, I know this was a very simple example that you shared. Like, it's a very standard.
Yep.
It could be an idea, could be a dime a dozen. But how are you protecting the IP, or was there an NDA that people should be expecting? I know it's not going to be a lot of detail that you're getting in this, but you're getting a lot of data. How are you handling that?
Absolutely. And so in our terms of service, we address that. This is your idea. You own the IP. We don't own anything with the IP. What we will do in the future is, if you want to be connected to the mentors and investors, it'll be an opt-in. Yes, you can share my idea with the mentors and investors. This semester, I've just kicked off a program with the University of California, Irvine. They're going to take, I'm going to give them our data anonymized. And they're going to take a look at our data and then look at any industry trends. Like, are there a bunch of cross-border fintech payment applications coming out or something like that? And they're going to give me some trending report. They're going to help us with some of the scoring concepts that we want to explore as well. But the data is yours. It's all your IP. We're not doing anything with that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Very, very common question. That's usually top 3 questions I get.
Cindy, and then we'll go to Victor.
Hi, Scott. This is exciting. Very wonderful. I can imagine it saves hours and hours and hours and weeks of time that someone would spend, maybe months of time that people would spend on doing this. I have a group of like 30 companies that are meeting this year in a program here in Buffalo, but they're all like 5 years, 10 years into their business and looking to change their business or improve their business. Would this help? And will it tell them that maybe an idea is great or an idea maybe not so great?
So absolutely, it can help. And so when I said it's one of the other target areas we identified was that there are a lot of business owners. I own a bakery, I own a shoe shop or something like that. And I can't afford a high price consultant. It's really kind of a lifestyle business, but a new company has moved in, a bagel shop has moved in down the street, and it's impacting my ability to sell coffee or something like that. They could absolutely use a tool like this to give them some fresh perspective and fresh ideas. So absolutely something to use that for. Remind me of the second part of your question.
Whether or not it will tell them whether it's a great idea or it's just, maybe not the right direction to go in. So what I showed you doesn't tell them whether it's a great idea or not. It's really up to you to go validate it. And that's why we give you the suggestions to validate. The new version that will have the market sizing, the market assessment, it won't tell you if it's a good idea or not, but it will tell you the indicators. Hey, there's an industry trend that's going away from this, maybe not a good thing, and red, yellow, green. Hey, the market is awfully small, or the market's very large. And so it will give you some indicators, but it's not going to tell you whether your idea is good or bad. Okay. And what LLM models are you using? What are you using to bring all this data together so quickly? It's actually it's striking. It's amazing.
We've tried a couple different ones. What we found is OpenAI is the one that is the most consistent and most reliable for the type of data that we're creating. And so we're using OpenAI.
Okay, great. I'd love to talk to you after the meeting.
Absolutely.
Funny. That's what I said to Scott. I'd love to talk to you afterwards. Yeah. You're getting a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Victor, and then we'll go to Adolfo.
Yes, thank you, Scott. This is pretty pretty intriguing. I'm fascinated first by what must have been your observations along the way about the commonality among all of the apparent independent efforts of startups in your experience to be able to structure it this way. I think that's the most fascinating thing I've seen. I may be wrong, but there seems to be, because of even the excitement and the feedback tonight, you can see that it resonates with people across the board. These are the elements that I need to consider. And the content is even going beyond the elements to give me thoughts that I didn't have myself. But to have structured the elements this way, if you understand my point, I think that's fascinating. My one question is a follow-on on the IP piece, but not about IP necessarily. You showed a screen where you had a list of ideas that had already run through the process. And what I wanted to understand is, if I'm participating in this platform, is that my proprietary isolated slice of the platform?
Yes. Yeah.
And
so
I could go ahead.
Yeah, since I do lots of demos, I have a lot of things in there. So those could be different versions. Like I have version A, version B, or version 1, 2, 3, or it could be I just got a bunch of ideas. Like I want to, start a fintech company. I want to start a bakery. I want to start a shoe company. Whatever. You can have all those in there, but those are all your proprietary. No one else sees those.
Right. Fair enough. I thank you for presenting to us tonight. This is fascinating.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Victor. Adolfo, and then we'll go to Dean.
Great. Thanks, Scott. I really appreciate you joining us today. I have a question in terms of what experiences you're seeing folks have with your platform. Do you have any anecdotes you can share with us of folks who have used it and taken it through a spin and actually gotten, I don't know, maybe to fund the idea or to get traction with an accelerator? Can you share a little bit more of your stories?
So that's a question I don't get too often, but it's the hardest question to answer for me, because today I don't have a way to track if those people have taken that idea off our platform and gone and built something else or got funding or something like that. But it's something we've been thinking about, like, how are we going to do this? And so as we evolve the platform, like I said, I want to keep this where when you build, when you have an idea to build, like, this is the place you come. You build on ZigZag. And we want to develop that relationship, the scoring relationship, the ability to introduce you to mentors, the ability. And so we'll be able to capture some of that information. So anecdotally, I can tell you one thing. When I showed this to my class, one of the companies changed their name of their project in class. So that was happening real time. And then I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs who said, much like several of you said, oh my gosh, like this would have saved me months. I've refined my idea based on this, and I'm going to take my business into a new direction or something. But I don't really have outcomes of what that has, but just anecdotal conversations I've had.
Right. For what it's worth, I'm about to start a startup in February with a partner, and this is amazing. We'll probably be using it. I live in North Boulder, close to Lucky, so
Okay.
get together and have coffee after we go through this. Happy to chat with you.
Absolutely, and I was with Dean in the breakout session, and he is down in Lone Tree, so maybe we all get together. Absolutely, 3-caller audience.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Adolfo. Just a little peer pressure. You do realize you're going to have to eventually come present here one night, Adolfo.
Absolutely.
Just planting that seed. Okay. Thank you. Divya. And then we'll go to Marie.
What happened to Dean? I thought Dean was ahead of me.
Yeah, sorry. thought it was me there.
Oh, sorry. I didn't say. I didn't.
Yeah, no, I've accidentally hit the hand down.
Oh,
Yes,
Scott, let's go to Dean and then we'll go to Divya. Sorry.
Sorry, thanks, Divya. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Hey, Scott, really enjoyed catching up in the start. I've got a sort of a more business question for you. So I didn't quite catch how long you've from startup of your business, how long you've been going for, and your business model, and what you capture, your value capture, and some reason my camera's gone funny. Just have you struggled with what you should be charging? Like, has that been difficult for you? And what's your projections and where you think this business could go in the next two to 3 years based on what you're seeing? So there's a couple of questions in there.
So kind of the cheeky answer is no, I haven't struggled with pricing at all because it's all free today. But that's not a sustainable business.
We got to change that,
obviously. Yeah, exactly. And so 2024 is the year we're going to be changing that. And so we have 3 different pricing models. So we'll have the freemium model. So much of what you saw today is going to continue to be free because it's that entrepreneur. I have one idea. I just want to test something out. That's fine. Then we'll have kind of the SaaS offering. And so it's that entrepreneur who wants to really build on the platform. They want to get connected to the mentor or the investor. They want access to the market sizing data or the team assessment data. So there'll be a fee associated with that. And then there's the enterprise version. And the enterprise is for those large organizations. So as an example, the class that I teach at CU, we put about 900 students a year through that class. And so I would offer CU a model like that. Maybe you're an accelerator. This one that I'm working with in Germany, I think they put 400 applicants through last fall, and they're kicking off their new program in 2 weeks and going through the same process again. And so we'll have an enterprise version as well. So we haven't launched that yet, but that is coming probably within the next 60 days or so.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Dean, and then Marie.
You missed me now.
I was just gonna say.
I'm going by hands. I'm looking at hands. I'm not following.
It's all
Todd,
good.
we got you. We got you.
On
We got you. Don't worry.
Divya.
It's
And
Divya.
then we'll go to Marie.
All right, Scott, thank you. This is just awesome. I'm just thinking of so many ways we can use it. I'm getting licensed for an equity crowdfunding platform. We're also have a fund in Australia. So I'm just like, the ways in which we can use this is just amazing.
Fantastic.
My question is more kind of I understand that this has the potential for like global usage. So when you're thinking about, or like when in the next phase, when you're thinking about market sizing and things like that, so the current, at least the way it stands from what I understand, seems to be very US focused. And I know you just gave an example of Germany, but as you kind of expand, right? Like, so when you think of TAM, SAM, and SOM, will it be kind of focused to the area or that country? So like we're thinking of expanding in Asia, India, right? Like, so would that be very focused within that country, or how would you kind of capture those data points as well, both from like market segmentation? It's very different when you kind of go more broad, right? So just what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, because there's something I didn't mention. Is everything I showed you tonight all comes from OpenAI. When we go to the market sizing and the industry trends and all that we're going live to the internet and pulling in that information. So that's real time, because OpenAI is limited to whenever its last language model was trained, and I think it's 4.0 Turbo was June of 2022 or something like that. So with that, and so we will do that, and what we're going to do, that also is fast, but it's going to take 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, because it's a lot of information we're churning as we pull that information back in, kind of digest it, and then present it back out to you. And so what we're going to do is there's a drop down that says, give me the information for the US or for Europe or for Asia. And so we'll be selective in those specific geographies. So you'll be able to zoom in specific geographies and territories.
And this just a follow on to that. And then just when you're doing comparative analysis, right? Like, so when you think about TAM, SAM, and SOM, or even like from a product individuality perspective, will it be able to analyze across? So let's say we'll take Canva as an example, right? So Canva started off in Australia. It was so unique. But then when you truly think of it, there's nothing like it globally when it kind of came out. So will it be able to kind of layer in that additional potential, fundamentally TAM overall globally? You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking I'm thinking from my usage perspective, really, Scott.
Yeah, so if that's what the market wants, we have the ability to do that. It's just a matter of where the market pull is on something like that. Right now, the vast majority of our users are in a specific geography, and so there isn't that need. But yeah, we could certainly do something like that.
Perfect.
We have the ability.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Divya. Marie.
Divya, I'm so glad you got to ask your question first, Scott, because I would love to build on that. I was thinking of, have you added any features that measure or talk about the effect on ESGs, or just, maybe how even you talked about, you get a couple of options for names. So you might be looking to particularly fund a particular segment of a market or a particular demographic that might have some really unique features from language or culture. Any types of those things that you're thinking of layering in there?
So absolutely. So those things are things we think about in terms of next generation of what we want to do. And so just so you know, this product really we kind of built this as an internal tool for us last April, and we kind of released it to the world in June. And so we've really only been working on this for about 6 months. And so this is still kind of moving out of prototype into kind of, we'll call it kind of beta mode. But those are absolutely things we're thinking about, because, think about it. If a venture capitalist were to come to me and say, hey, I would like to invest in women-led companies in Africa that do, cross-border transactions. Can you give me a list of that? And that would be the idea where they've opted in. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. And so we will be capturing those kinds of things. I want to only invest in climate tech companies or work with those. So it's absolutely things that we're thinking of. The trick for us is balancing that. We don't want it to get too bloated, and we don't want to slow it down. Like, the magic of this is that it takes 2 minutes to do. And so the more we put in, the slower things get. And that's why the next version that has the ability to do the market sizing and things, that's kind of like the clock starts over again. It's basically, now give me this, and then it goes out and runs for 2 or 3 minutes on itself. And so we just have to be mindful of how we can develop this so it still gives you kind of the magic and the speed and the accuracy with all the data that everyone wants to collect. But we're absolutely thinking and considering those things for sure.
I just love it. And just the whole idea of democratizing, just the opportunities of people to be able to do this who don't have that option. It's just amazing. And thinking of how, the time that you spent doing this and how new it is, just kudos.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marie. Jian.
I think it's a Susan first,
Oh.
or no, or
I'm
me.
I'm looking at the raised hand, so
I'm sorry. Okay.
Jian,
All right.
Yeah.
Susan was in front of me.
Gian, go ahead,
Okay.
and then I'm
Sure.
yeah.
All right, thank you. So thank you so much, Scott. That's wonderful, wonderful. And oh, yeah, there we go. I have maybe a conceptual for the AI itself, not your program, but since you have a demo of your structure, and then I just raised to you. So you say your information is from OpenAI. When we planning, we do a spectacle for the processing of the future. So when you setting all your what do you call that canvas, did you identify or make it absolutely clear is a now plan or future plan, or the same?
I don't know the best way to answer that. Like, what we're doing is we're giving you, I mean, we're looking at historical data that already exists and providing
Right.
that information. So we're not creating a future version unless you articulate some kind of thing in the future. We'll use that data, that kind of the historical data that we have, and come up with kind of the best answers. But we're not a futurist in that sense.
Okay. All right. Another thing is related is that the OpenAI, when you select original, for example, you say you have a collection of ability to select broader in European or Asian or US, right? Are those right now, since the AI system itself, the OpenAI system itself, has been developing or accumulation so quickly, changing its form, in how a way, I'm not talking about your program, okay? I'm talking about my the things that I'm worried about. How a way make sure that the information we got is not nearsighted or outlier or regional eliminated.
If I understand your question correctly, I think the answer is, OpenAI, what we're using, it's updating and changing, regularly, and so we're keeping updated with that. We went from 3.5 to 4 to 4 turbo and things like that, and so you could come back and rerun your idea and see if things have evolved or changed, and use that. And that's kind of going back to what the person asked before. I think it was Cindy asked about, could a traditional business use this? Sure, just like you could use it and rerun, because we're all getting smarter as this goes on, and our data is getting smarter. OpenAI's data is getting smarter. The one thing to mention is we're only as smart as the data, and so I used to joke that if you ask our program about pickleball, it has no idea what pickleball is because pickleball is still so new. Well, now that we've updated to 4.0 turbo, now we know what pickleball is, but I don't know. If you asked it about the Golden Globes that was this week, like, it won't know about that kind of stuff. And so again, that goes back to that human AI collaboration. You have to, as the human, have to say, oh, I can't ask it this because it doesn't have that data yet. And that's where you have to work in collaboration with the technology.
Okay, so one very naive question. So if I got information from your system, that canvas or that plan, that strategy is from OpenAI or from your creation?
It's from our creation.
From your creation, but you are from OpenAI. So in that case, is that publishable, or is there patent you can claim, or anything that if I borrow your information, but I'm make my own, and then what was your suggestion?
So the information we're providing is based on our IP, or the way we're prompting, the way we're asking the questions, the way we're structuring things and stuff like that. And so that would be the patentable thing, not the output. The output is, because it's a combination of what we're doing, it's a combination of what OpenAI is. The IP that we output in that sense, the idea, that's your idea. That is not ours. Ours is on the technology.
Okay, so any information that I use your AIP, then that would be your product. But when I created with your information, then that's something else and nothing to do with OpenAI anymore, right? That's what I'm worried about.
Well, we're getting the data from OpenAI. And so when it comes to who the competitors are, we're making the queries to OpenAI, say, give us this information in this format and stuff. They're providing that data. We're the ones who are prompting it to give us that information. But the data comes out is from OpenAI. It's just how we've structured it, if you will.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen. Susan.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I have a million questions, and this is so incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just a few, and then I would love to talk with you further. So the first one is, interactivity, right? So we get a lot of information that says this company is your competitor, and they're actually more like a adjacency. So is there interaction? Can you say like, okay, this is not quite right, or these are the things that I would do to add specificity to what's in the business model canvas?
So you can't do that today, but in the future version you will. And I don't know if you noticed, but when we were in kind of the expanded view of the lean canvas, it was grayed out on the right side. It said edit, and so that's the perfect example of this really isn't my competitor, or gosh, there's a new competitor that just showed up down the street. It's not in the model yet, but you could put that in. So yes, that is the concept that you will be able to do that in the future.
Cool. All right, cool. And then kind of switching gears along with what Marie talked about, like ESG. So this particular group, we're, in addition to all the other stuff we get excited about, we're also very excited, and many of us like Divya and Kelly and Saima and others are really working on how to level the playing field for underserved founders like women and people of color.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and so it seems like ZigZag can help with that. But I want to know kind of your specific thoughts on how to do that. And then we are also putting together a panel of investors to really talk to us about that. And we would love to have you be part of that panel as well, if you're up for it.
Sure, happy to talk to you about that. In terms of like the ESG aspects of it, yeah, this is something that going back to my Techstar days is you can't wait until they're at this point. You've got to go to kind of where the source is, and so you've got to go upstream and find the people. Like what we was talking about, if we wait to invite these underrepresented founders once they've worked it all the way through the funnel, like we're not going to have any. We have to start with the top of the funnel and start filling the pipeline much sooner. And so with that, it's talking to different first groups, working with these different organizations. So one of the universities we're working with is Prairie View A&M. So it's an HBCU out of Texas. It's part of the Texas A&M system. And so working with organizations like that is one way to do that. We're here, coincidentally in Colorado, there's a lot of climate activity going on here. And so there's some climate focused companies and funds who are using this as well. And so we're trying to get to all those people to fill the top of the funnel for all this.
Cool, that makes sense. And one last question, very personal one for our company. Can we get APIs to you guys for like a piece of it, like your resources? Because our product just gives access to resources, and the list that you have there looks very much like our list. So do you have that, or are you thinking about that kind of linkage as well?
We are thinking about that. I've been having conversations all week about APIs. So on the roadmap.
Okay, cool.
Again, we're still so early into this process. There's a lot of things we want to do, but absolutely. And one of the things that we talk about, especially with large, we'll call these high volume users, the accelerators, the studios, is they want the ability to bulk upload their entire application. So everyone applied in F Success. Now they want to put it in here to get that output. So we're working on those kinds of solutions now.
It's so awesome. It's just incredible. And we'll get back in touch with you about that panel too, but
absolutely.
Great. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott, thanks, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is great.
This is disgusting. It's a horrible idea. It's reducing everyone's friction and solving everyone's problems. And like we have spent so many years going through this process by hand and manually doing it. And now you've taken that away from us. Shame on you.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, I've taken the pain away from the journey. The journey still exists, but I've eliminated the pain.
Which is like, and I've talked about this, but like in terms of like your roadmap and features that I want, like you're already building a web page. Okay, tie that into your favorite platform, and there it is. It's live. Give me the ability to change it, and run an experimentation platform. You can create the experiments. You could create the surveys. You can push that stuff through APIs of your choice and actually run those surveys, run those experiments, get the data. Yeah, it's just,
100%.
and I'm just paying it on my credit card.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean,
It's incredible.
With a couple more hands.
I can't wait either, frankly.
Right. So, all right, let's call on Jen. We'll go back to Jen and then we'll go to Bill.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, I just thought a question, marketing question. So Scott, you built up for half year now. How did you see your data, marketing data increasing, your clients increasing? What was the exponential growth? Would you able to release a little bit to us?
I'm not sure I understand. Like,
Oh,
did I spend money on?
so you
marketing?
built your platform, you put on the market, and then since day one to now, half year from now, what was your clients increasing on your platform?
Oh, how many users have increased on the platform?
Yeah.
In that period of time?
Yeah. Yeah. And where did you do the marketing? How did you do that?
So we have spent $0 on marketing.
Right.
We've been very fortunate. We were picked up by one or two kind of entrepreneurial influencers who posted about us, whether on LinkedIn or something, and really helped our user adoption. It's just really been word of mouth. As an example, I was at I did a presentation at the University of California, Irvine, and got to know them, and we're a technology sponsor for their new venture challenge and things like that. And the person I work with there went to a conference I think it was in Houston, and he sent me a picture of ZigZag on someone else's presentation, someone I have no idea who this person is, and said, they're talking about you. And I said, what do you mean? Where are you? Who's talking about me? Well, it turns out it's a professor from Drexel University, John Wilson. And of course, I reached out to John. I'm like, hey, let's talk. I see you're using our product and promoting it and things like that. And so it's all been word of mouth, 100% of that. In terms of user growth, we've gone from 0 to, we have a little over 5,000 users on the platform right now, and close to 10,000 ideas, I think have gone through it.
Very cool. Thank you so much. This is great. Yeah.
Bill,
best wishes for your.
Thank
you.
I thank you, Scott, for being here with us tonight. It's very inspiring. I'm still thinking about the lead canvas that you showed initially with all the quadrants in it. In your algorithm behind when you search information on OpenAI, do you have specific questions, like pre-established specific questions to influence the results of these quadrants on your link canvas?
Yeah, 100%. Yep. So we're using all our expertise and experience in entrepreneurship to craft the questions and the prompts to provide that type of information. Absolutely.
And you can implement your clients' questions also and include them in these canvas?
I mean, the only thing that the client can do is that first section that we typed in the single sentence. You can type in, you can type in paragraphs there, and you can put in, the more information you put in, the richer the data will come out. But for an example like this, just showing a single sentence, the power of it. So if you were to go in and you put your target customers in, you put geography, you put all that other stuff in, the data becomes richer. But there isn't a way to prompt more specific questions. That's kind of our secret sauce that we've created.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, and Bill, to your point, one of the things that I was teaching my students for the past 2 semesters is how to just plainly use ChatGPT to get it to fill out a business model canvas or the lean canvas. It's not as easy and as high quality as you would think just by asking it a simple question. There's a lot of special sauce that they're doing there, and I want to know what it is, but we'll just have to pay for the service and then just use it. So
don't let it go, Todd. Special sauce.
It's gone. It's special sauce.
Let me ask you just for the special sauce and one little question.
We're never going to get the special sauce.
Have you used any social psychologist at this point?
We have not at this point. But
do you need one in the future?
I don't know.
Okay.
One of the things we've talked about is in the team assessment. Right now, we're really doing a lot of keyword matching on technology and management and entrepreneurship and things like that. But having something that has a kind of a known framework might be something we could do. So whether that's a disc profile or strength finders or Myers-Briggs or something like that. Again, it's a future thing we've talked about. What we have now works and is a good kind of MVP, but we have talked about creating something a little bit more robust that way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is a great answer.
Thanks, Jen. Dean, and then we'll go to Adolfo.
Yep. I've got another business question for you. It's quite ironic. You're building a platform for people doing startups, and you're doing a startup essentially.
Yes.
Which is, so my question to you is capital raising yourself, like to get yourself into a position so you're financially very strong and you can scale this, because you've got a tiger by the tail. It's very, very obvious. It's not often I've seen ideas in businesses like this that could scale so quickly. And you've already said how many countries you're in. So my question to you is, what is your capital raise plan? And what are you thinking of raising? Are you going to private equity? Please don't go to VCs, as everyone knows here. So I'm really interested in about how you're self-funding this, you're bootstrapping it. It's clear. You've got so much opportunity to grow this so quickly. You've probably only got 2 or 3, 4 people in it, coding, writing functions that will do what you want. So there's no question about that. So really interested about that part to get you successful.
Yeah, so for us, 2 things, like I mentioned earlier, the year 2024 is monetizing this and still generating revenue out of the platform itself. But we are considering a capital raise. And it's one of those things that we're not sure we're ready for yet, but we've had several inbound inquiries about it. And so we're seriously considering that right now. But we have not officially kicked off a fundraising process, but it is something that we are considering to pour some gasoline on this fire.
Cool. You should. Got a tiger by the tail, Scott. You really have.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dean. Adolfo, and then we'll go to Milind.
So, Scott, one of the most anxiety-inducing activities of my experience was to prepare to pitch to investors, right? And this is, I'm going to ask a question that you may have to speculate if that is the case, or maybe you already thought about it, but how do you feel a platform like this that reduces the friction, right? That keeps the journey, but it speeds up the process. How could that change that relationship between entrepreneurs and investors, if any? I don't know if you have thought about it. If you want to dream about it, this will be a good place to hear your dreams, but I'm curious to see your perspective on that.
Yeah. I mean, I think about that a lot, and that goes back to kind of the whole concept of democratizing access. And so if you are, a female founder in Africa, your ability to get to a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley to fund your business is nearly impossible. And so with a platform like this, if I can help facilitate that connection, because this entrepreneur says, hey, I've identified this Silicon Valley, entrepreneur or angel investor or venture capitalist, and I have a connection to them, I can make that introduction. And instead of just saying, hey, you should meet this person, I have this objective data that I can now provide from that entrepreneur that shows the progress they've made. At this early stage, entrepreneurs or investors are really looking at the team and the traction, as well as the market sizing and the idea. So it's really kind of those 4 things. And so if I can help bridge that gap, absolutely it's something I'd want to do.
Right, fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Adolfo. Milind.
Thank you, Scott. This is really, really intriguing. A couple of basic questions. The first one is, you mentioned about OpenAI, which kind of limits you up to certain point of data. Mm-hmm. So is there plan, I know you just had 6 months or 9 months into it, eventually try to make it more dynamic as you get the latest current data built into your model. So not just relying on that one LLM. Is that the plan going forward? That's one question. And this secondary question subsequent to that is, at the basic level, when you started this, what kind of resource or involvement you had? I mean, how much time really have to spend creating that kind of, this is basically application based off OpenAI, but much more elegant and beautiful, and then gives you something what you're looking for in no time. So if you can answer a couple of those angles on that.
Yeah, so I'll start with the second part first. Like, it's hard for me to answer and say how much time did it take for us to put all of this together, because it comes with all of our experience, 20 years. My partners and I, it's all of our experience combined coming together to kind of generate a lot of this in the data. Like whether my experience at Techstars or my partner's experience, one of my partners ran an accelerator program and invested in companies. Another was, more of a management consultant. So it's all of our experience together. And so it's not like I can say, oh, it took us 2 weeks to put this together, because it's 60 years of experience that really helped us put it together. Actually writing the code, like that took us months. It didn't take us years at this point. Obviously, we've only been doing this for about 6 months. So there's that. In terms of kind of the data, our plan is to, and I think someone put it in the Todd, I saw earlier, RAG is using that to populate the data. So take the data that we have, learn from our data, and be able to supplement the other data that's already in there. And so effectively kind of creating our own. That's our plan.
You got it. Thank you. And then the other aspect of that on the IP side, which it came up during earlier discussion. See, I work in aerospace, and not thinking of more on the startup point of view, but the the enterprise level of that domain that you're talking about. So there could be within the business unit, there are some ideas we want to use, but then a lot of times the restrictions are the data protection. So what you feed in, so will not definitely OpenAI may not be an option for us. So they have to build upon your own AI. So that's one of the reasons I'm asking you what kind of resources based on the backgrounds that you will need to at least get started on these kind of initiatives.
So are you asking, like, if you work in aerospace and you're not able to use OpenAI, how you can create something like this on your own?
Yeah, that's right.
So we really haven't considered that. Like, what we've done is we've experimented with different ones, and this will be a very simplistic say, like, we can plug and play. I can plug in Claude one day and I can plug in OpenAI. It's not that easy, but we could do something like that. I assume we could do something with someone else's custom LLM they've created in the future, but it's not something that we're considering at this point.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Milan. So Scott, how much we're at time? How are you doing on your time?
I'm fine. It's 7:30 my time. It's 9:30 a lot of you time. So I'm good.
So if there's any other questions, please feel free to raise your hands. But Scott, like, again, this you ruined my class. I have to completely redo the entire unit. And one of the things that I've been struggling with is actually the
job
education.
security.
It's jobs. No, it's not, unfortunately. But what you've done is effectively changed it so that now I can actually focus on educating students, not on how to prompt ChatGPT, because that was the skill.
Yep.
And then, hey, here's your idea. How do you go from an idea with a large language model to a canvas to you've expanded that universe like exponentially, literally. Now I can actually focus on teaching the real important stuff. And it's you've done all the work. You've said, here's your idea, here's the information. And my students are artists. They're creatives. They create things. They create things out of thin air. And your tool now is going to empower them. And this is from the feedback from my students for last semester. It's now empowering them to be like, oh, I can actually go from just an idea. And is this a good idea? Is it a bad idea? And then explore the universe of actually building that into an actual business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I talk about is let's stop teaching students how to plan. Let's teach them how to execute. Like, right, those 20-page business plans, like let's help them get to get to market faster. Not only are we saving them time doing it, but now they're getting into the market sooner. They can get their product out. They can do the testing and the experimentation and things with their market. And much like your class, one of the professors at CU teaches a computer science class. So it's a year-long class, and they not only have to build a product, they have to build a business plan that goes along with it. And so they've implemented this because they're computer science majors, and this isn't their skill set necessarily. And so this is a tool that they can now use and leverage to jumpstart their business plan. And they, to your point, save time. They can focus on building the software that they're creating.
AI won't replace humans. Humans with AI will replace humans without AI.
Yeah.
Kareem Lakhani, one of our professors, that's his quote. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So looks like no more questions right now. And we hope you can stay for our social hour afterwards, Scott, but just wanted to thank you again, and we'll reach out to you about the panel and some of the other stuff. And just a reminder, before I finish, the thank you to everybody else, go and vote. I just did it, and ZigZag is second by 10 votes. So let's take them over to the top right now by going and voting.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the link is right in the chat. So you have to sign up, but it, it takes like, 30 seconds. So go vote, and let's get him to 45 votes, because then he'll be first, way ahead of the other company that's first right now. And just so incredible, so many things. I mean, this is applicable to big companies too. I mean, I did a lot of entrepreneurial stuff when I worked within big corporations. So entrepreneurship, same idea, same usage. Yeah, it's just awesome. So thank you so much, and just incredible. And I'm with Todd. It's like, the last, the last year of stuff that I did, I could have done in what, a month, but now I have a tool. It's awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you. This is great. This is obviously a passion for mine, so I love talking about this. I could talk about this all day. But thank you all for participating, and great questions. Like that's the fun thing for me is getting these questions and these ideas and thoughts of how we can improve this in the future. So thank you very much for all of your input.
Yep.
And
thank you very much.
One last question for you, which we ask some of our speakers, not all, is if you'd be willing to come back and give us an update, and even maybe have an interactive session with us where we can help you in some way, give you feedback or whatever, but have you come back and talk to us some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Happy to do so.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Scott, thank you. And please send my regards to Sammy.
I will. I'll be talking to him tomorrow morning.
Right. I'm sure. But this was a huge treat. I believe that what you're building is really going to make it a whole lot easier for folks like us to execute and to ideate and not make mistakes, which is, we can talk about that in overtime. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. Before I stop recording, just a little reminder, next week, Andy Spielberg from Harvard Grid will be joining us. And please do stick around for overtime.
And vote.
Thank you.
Go vote.
And vote for.
He's still number 2. So let's close the gap.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Stick around for some overtime.
Yeah.